welcome to the live stream of the Sunset Park podcast. This evening, we have an election series special. And joining us is Jacqui Painter. This is really an exciting time for Red Hook, Sunset Park, because we have a big election next week, 8 days away on June 22nd. So I want to welcome Jacqui to the live stream. Jacqui, how are you?
Hi everyone. I am so good. I am so happy to be here, excited, nervous, amped up, all the emotions now only 8 days away. So
I remember when we first spoke last year about your election about your campaign when you came out that you were going to run.
yeah.
And June 22nd seems so far away. And here we are,
Yeah.
8 days away. Now, early voting has started already.
hmm
And this is an exciting time. As a candidate, I'm sure, like you said, all these different emotions are going through your mind. How are you feeling 8 days away from the election?
Yeah. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling very excited, very energetic. There's a lot of support, and that is really what drives me every day are these last conversations with neighbors and voters, and hearing what's important to everyone, and hearing our message resonate with people across the district is very, very special.
So, which I guess kind of leads me to the first question. What have you learned about this district, about Red Hook, about Sunset Park during this campaign, being out there in the streets, letting people know that you're a candidate? What what is the biggest thing you can say
Yeah.
you've learned from this campaign?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I would have to say that I have really learned and understood that we all want pretty much the same things. And what we want in a representative is someone who is honest, transparent, someone who's going to go out there for us and advocate for us and listen to us. And it doesn't matter really where you're from, what you look like, or what how you grew up or what you believe in. It really matters that if you're going to do a good job. Like it's really, it sounds very simple, but that's really something that you have to speak to everyone to really learn. And it doesn't matter how many fancy outsiders talk about you either. It really just matters who you are. And it matters all these issues that are so important: housing, immigration, climate change. These are issues that are across the board in Red Hook, in South Slope, in Greenwood Heights, in Sunset Park, in the little bit of Bay Ridge that we have. This is the little bit of Borough Park as well. These are all issues that everyone cares about and that everyone has a stake in. And even, let's say, if you are someone who is very privileged enough to not have any housing issues, right? You can afford a house, you own the home, and it's a great home and you love it, you have a family, it works well for you, but you still do care that maybe some of your neighbors can't afford their rent or are losing gas for days at a time. That really is still a big issue for people. And I think that that's really inspiring, and that's a really true testament to the communities in our district.
What has been the most difficult part about being a candidate and campaigning?
Yeah. Well, this is it's an interesting question because it's very hard. I'm not gonna lie, it's hard. I just said that it's very inspiring as well, and that really, you go through a cycle. You go through extremely tired to then all of a sudden inspired in the next 5 minutes and wanting to push forward. So it's a hard process. It's a long hours of the day. It's, I think that as soon as I get done working at about 11 p.m., I go to bed if it's that early. And then I wake up at 6 a.m. and I'm outside by 7. and the day starts all over again. So it's a lot of work, but it's worth it.
Now, talking to our neighbors, and I've seen you out there a lot. I've seen people on your team door knocking, handing out information about your campaign. Um, of the issues that you hear about when you're out there, if you could pick one that you can tell us that you kept hearing over and over again, is there a particular issue that from the campaign that maybe you didn't know about before keeps coming up when you're out there?
Well, I would say that the issues, the kind of the top three issues that I already mentioned: housing, climate change, immigration. Those are issues that really resonate across the board, that people really care about. Um, However, they're really no surprise, especially with all my work during the pandemic. Housing, New York City, we're in a housing crisis, and it's true that no one can afford to live in our city anymore. You know, especially Red Hook, Sunset Park, even at one time South Slope. These were all neighborhoods that you could raise a family in very comfortably. Maybe you could buy your home, you could have a backyard, and now people are living in studio apartments with a family. You know what I mean? It's worse, I think, than everyone really understands, and people really just want to be able to have a home and to be able to afford it and to not make tough financial decisions.
Now, as someone who was born and raised in Red Hook, right? I've heard this from our neighbors in Red Hook that at times they feel forgotten because for a very long time, council members were from Sunset Park, and there's an office in Sunset Park. Have you ever thought of maybe opening a satellite office in Red Hook, maybe for office hours in Red Hook, so that people from Red Hook don't have to trek all the way over to Sunset Park, even though it's not that far, but transportation is not the easiest
Yeah.
public transportation to get from Red Hook to Sunset Park.
Hmm.
Have you ever thought about having a satellite office in Red Hook or office hours in Red Hook?
Yes, yes, absolutely yes, and it's happening. If I get elected, that is happening. You know, on day one, if it can. Um, Having that access, that in-person access, especially as we've seen so many struggles with virtual, that's so important, of somewhere where you can go and either get help or just feel heard. You know, I've had to go to Councilman Menchaca's office several times, and getting there is impossible. I mean, you have to take a bus to a bus, or a bus to a subway, or walk for like an hour and a half, or take a bike, which, as we all know, Hamilton Avenue and Third Avenue, extremely dangerous avenues to bike across, and that's really the only way to get there, on bike from in between our districts. So definitely something that we need to work on. Whoever gets that seat needs to work on that.
And also something else from our Red Hook neighbors is that they feel forgotten at times, right?
Mm.
Now, if you were to become our council member, how do Sunset Park residents, how can they be assured that you won't forget us if you were to become our next council member?
Yeah, that's a very good question, and it is a question that I get. Um, you know, I know how it feels to be disinvested in. Red Hook is no stranger to disinvestment. Our community needs so much help, and I'm someone who's not going to disinvest in any community. In Sunset Park, I mean, we have a lot of issues, and it's not just what you can see and what you can't see. It's really getting to the root of these issues. And in my style of being the city council member, I'm really going to use a community co-governance model that I've spoken about before. And what that means is truly having eyes and ears on the ground in a way that's never been done before, with utilizing weekly or monthly, however it works out, community meetings that we all sit down with community leaders, stakeholders, and talk about what's working, what isn't working, what's needed, what's not needed, etc., and getting those issues fixed. We're very, very blessed in District 38 to have such strong and amazing communities that all we need is the proper investment. I mean, we've seen it during the pandemic when the government was absent. The communities really took control and brought us out of this crisis and keep bringing us out to this day. And they know what we need. And so working on the ground with community is going to ensure that no one is left out, that everyone has that seat at that table, and that absolutely no disinvestment is done in District 38.
Yeah, that's one of the things that definitely came out of the pandemic, right? The fact that the community took care of each other. Like if no one in let's say, for example, the federal government, even at the local level, right? They weren't quick to react to the needs of the communities, and our community, Red Hook, Sunset Park, took it upon themselves with mutual aid, and you were part of that, to take care of ourselves. Because if we don't do that, if we don't take actions ourselves, then we just can't wait around for federal government or state government to come in and rescue us, because they were really slow about it.
Exactly.
But I guess the $1 million question here is, and in closing, because I know you're super busy and we're limited on time, but why should we rank Jacqui Painter as our number one choice on Tuesday?
Yes. Well, I am someone who grew up here in our communities, in our beautiful and diverse district. And I'm someone who's done the work. And I'm someone who's done the work with the community. And I'm someone who's going to continue doing the work. I want to work every day, every minute of the day for this district. I love Red Hook. I love Sunset Park. And I obviously love every other part of our district. And I've proven time and time again that I can coalition build and organize to make our situations better and to get to that goal. And it's far, far, far past time that we don't have a strong voice sticking up for us and listening to us. I've been on the ground. I've been fighting for issues. I've been marching in the streets. I've been organizing. And if the people in power don't do anything about it, that's when things don't happen. So I'm sick of things not happening. I want to get in there and listen to the needs of the community and make it happen. And that's why you should rank me number one, because I will never stop fighting for us. And you also brought up an amazing word, rank. So let's definitely make sure that we all know what ranked choice voting is, that you get to select up to 5 candidates this year on all different races on the ballot. So definitely make sure that you do 1 through 5 for our city council race.
Jacqui, thank you so much for taking the time. I know it's super busy. We're 8 days away. Early voting has already started.
Yes.
And I think we're all going to be tuning in to the results on that evening.
Yeah.
And we wish you all the best. Thank you so much. It's definitely been an interesting campaign, and it was great to throughout the campaign learn more about your stance on the different issues, and for that and all the work that you've done during the pandemic with the Red Hook Mutual Aid. That's important work, and for that I commend you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rob, and thank you for creating these spaces to inform our community members and to give us all a platform again to speak to the neighbors, to our neighbors.
Thank you, Jacqui.
My cat is trying to get in the frame.
Now, we will be back tomorrow evening at 8:30. And joining us tomorrow will be Rodrigo Camarena, who is also a candidate in the D38 City Council race. Thank you very much. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great evening.